The issue at hand is whether or not, when the Chumash provides a reason for a particular name given to an individual or to a place, must that name be an exact fit? It seems from the Maharsha that the answer to this question is in the affirmative, and therefore it justifies the Gemara providing an alternative reason for the name Reuven. The Rebbe argues that from the standpoint of the Pshuta Shel Mikra and Rashi, the answer is in the negative, and a number of examples can be brought from the text to demonstrate that this is the case, and hence Rashi's commentary to Leah's naming her firstborn Reuven is not motivated by the fact that the name Reuven is not an exact fit to the reason provided by the Chumash text. The first of these examples goes back to the opening parak of the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, Bereshit 1, regarding the events that took place on day 2 of creation. As of the conclusion of day 1, we have the Eretz without life, surrounded by a layer of mayim, of water. We are not informed as to the content of this water, nor its thickness. A very raw pshat translation of the events, beginning with Bereshit 1:6, is that God commands that Yehi Rakia Batoch HaMayim. There is to be a Rakia, a space inserted into the Mayim, and this Rakia will mavdil, from the word Havdalah, separate, bein Mayim leMayim. Vayas Elokim et HaRakia, God actually makes the Rakia, and Rashi has a rereading of the word Vayas, and that Vayabdel ben Hamayim Asher mitachat LaRakia, there was a separation, a division between the waters that were beneath the Rakia, the lower waters, or ben Hamayim Asher me'al LaRakia, and those waters that were above the Rakia, the upper waters. And in Pasuk Chet, Vayikra Elokim LaRakia Shamayim, God designates, God names the Rakia Shamayim. For whatever the reason, Rashi feels the need to comment on the word Shamayim and suggests that the word Shamayim is a contraction of two words, for which there are three options. The first option is that Shamayim reflects the two words Sa, Mayim. Sa, linked to the Shoresh Nun Shin Aleph, to lift, to raise up, and refers to the process of lifting up a segment of the water for the creation of the Rakia. Option 2, the term Shamayim is a combination of Sam, Mayim. Sam connected to the Shoresh Shin Vav Mem, to place or to arrange, once again reflecting the process of arranging the waters so as to allow for the creation of the Rakia. Least understandable is the third option, that the word Shamayim is a contraction of two words, Eish and Mayim, and goes on to suggest that the Rakia was formed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu by mixing the elements of fire and water, which created the sky. I place this into the category of Sod because from the standpoint of Pshat, Remez or Drush, the concept of the sky being a combination of fire and water is something that might boggle the modern mind somewhat. What comes out of all of this is the fact that Rashi does not have a problem in linking the word Shamayim to the three options, despite the fact that in option number 1 we are missing a mem, and more problematic is option 2 and 3, in which the suggestion is made that the word Shamayim comprises words that have an aleph, a letter that is not found in the word Shamayim. Which brings us back to the issue of Reuven. The argument was that a second interpretation was required to explain the name Reuven on account of the fact that if we rely solely on the reason provided by the Pasuk, the name Reuven does not reflect the main thrust of the name given to her firstborn, namely the word Ba'anayi, in my affliction. Then it was proposed that this was the motivation for Rashi to provide the second interpretation, based upon Rabbeinu Pirshu. From Rashi's explanation for the word Shamayim, we also have a situation where we do not have an exact fit, and this does not seem to bother Rashi, and therefore, on this basis, we would not require a second interpretation, which brings us back to the original question: why was there a need from the very outset for Rashi to comment on Bereshit 29:32 with respect to Leah naming her firstborn son Reuven? The name did not need to be an exact fit to the event, and therefore there was no need for Rashi to make any comment whatsoever.